Hey everybody, Steve Prziborowski here. Welcome to episode 65 of Reach for the Firefighter Badge. Episode 65 is going to discuss life as a probationary firefighter, being the first to wake up and the last to go to sleep. This is part 2. Episode 64 discussed the first part. So let's get going. As a reminder, my 2 websites have lots of great, valuable, free information to help you be the best that you can be, regardless of the rank that you're aspiring to. Also on my website, 2 of the 3 books I've had published, both of which will help you also become a better firefighter candidate. All right, let's continue. So again, this is based upon an article I had published by Firehouse Magazine on January 29, 2007, titled First to Wake Up, Last to Go to Sleep, Life as a Probationary Firefighter. And it's published on firehouse.com. And the first items were discussed in the previous episode. Let's continue. So as we move forward, in the last episode, I discussed things that the candidate, you're now hired on the job. So things the probationary firefighters should be doing before they go to sleep, being the last one to sleep. Now, and as a reminder, why am I discussing things upon hire? Because to be successful in getting the badge, you must first prepare for the position. So now, as the first to get out of bed in the morning, here are some suggestions you can be doing in the early morning prior to everybody else getting up. So, upon rising in the morning, make coffee. Now, I don't know of a firehouse around the country that doesn't drink coffee. Now, key point, realize different shifts, different folks may like different flavors or brands of coffee. Sometimes you can't win for losing, as they say. You know, some like Starbucks, some like Pete's, some like Phil's, some like cheapo stuff, some like whatever. But don't assume anything. On your first day, ask the crew, hey, what type of coffee do you each like? And realize, again, if you're a crew of 3 or 4, even if you don't like coffee, ask what they like, because you may be getting them some coffee at some point. So what do they like? Do they even drink coffee? Like, for example, I don't drink coffee. I've had maybe, I don't know, a dozen cups in my life. I have 1 cup every year or 2, and it's usually when I'm out with some friends or people that I've known, like, hey, here's a cup. Okay, cool, thanks. I mean, I'll drink it, but I just don't enjoy the taste. I know, I'm a weirdo. My caffeine is like an iced tea, unsweetened, or Diet Coke, Diet Dr. Pepper, but that's just me. But keep that in mind, though. So not everyone drinks coffee. Don't assume. That's like sometimes I have probationary firefighters, and again, or even new firefighters that I really haven't had a chance to get to know, and they invite me over for lunch, their captain obviously, or the crew, or I ask to buy into lunch because I need to be in the area for a reason, or I just want to say hi to the crew. You know, usually the good crews will say, hey, Chief, what do you like to eat? What do you dislike? Do you have any food allergies? Do you have any food restraints or whatever else? That's cool. And every now and then they'll be, hey, Chief, here's a cup of coffee. Well, I don't drink coffee, huh? And they look at me like I'm an idiot. Well, again, don't assume anything. Ask the question. So I know most firefighters like to drink coffee. But anyway, the key is you want to make sure you have the right type. You also want to make sure you don't make too much or too little, but when in doubt, make too much. Nothing worse than having too little of anything. Again, but you also don't want to have too much that it goes to waste. And also if there's any special requests. So do this for your shift and also for the oncoming shifts, because in the morning when you get on duty, typically at 8 o'clock in the morning, maybe you're there, maybe you're not there, but again, make sure the coffee is there. And it's not just a morning thing. Some crews like coffee in the morning, in the afternoon, even in the evening. I mean, everyone's different, but especially in the morning for your crew when they wake up, and then for the oncoming crew. Besides making coffee, some other things you can do upon rising. Bring in the newspaper. You may go, newspaper, who gets that anymore? I've never, most firehouses that I've seen still get the daily newspapers. So like at our firehouse, typically the San Jose Mercury gets delivered. The fire department doesn't pay for it, but the firehouse pays for it out of the kitty fund, as it's called. So just like coffee, the fire department doesn't pay for coffee, the firehouse does. So the members of that firehouse, so like if there's 3 people on A shift, 3 people on B shift, and 3 on C shift, that's typically 9 people that are assigned out of that firehouse. 3 a day, 9 total over all 3 shifts. So those folks usually chip in X amount of money a month as part of what's known as the kitty or the house fund. If you're working overtime or you're a guest, say a probationary firefighter assigned there on a detail, meaning you're there for a month or 2 months, you'll be paying kitty dues or house dues. And every now and then I love it when I hear story of a probationary firefighter. Well, I don't drink coffee or I don't read the newspaper. Why do I got to chip in? To be part of the team, okay? Team mate. Don't be an IGMer. I got minor, but you know what? Most stations still get the newspaper, and that's not a bad thing if they don't. Your job is not to read the paper. Obviously, I encourage you to read the paper to stay up to date with news, but usually the morning newspaper that's in print was usually printed the night before, so it may not be the most up to date. What a lot of probationary firefighters tend to do is I've seen this in different ways, but a lot of them, you know, if there's like 3 sections of the newspaper, they'll lay it out, you know, section 1, section 2, section 3, or however. I mean, you don't have to do it like a hotel does, but you know what, bring it in, and if nothing else, place it on the kitchen table or whatever gathering point. But usually the morning gathering point, just like the evening, afternoon, morning gathering point, is the kitchen table. The firehouse kitchen table is the place to solve all the world's problems. We know we can do it. That's why we try, and that's why it's great to be there. Great team building and team bonding. Another thing you can do upon rising, ensure the dishwasher is empty from the night before and that the kitchen is clean and presentable for the next oncoming crew. Put up the flags unless it's raining. Now, like I mentioned in the previous episodes, some firehouses actually have flags that are lit. So if the flag is lit 24/7, you usually don't take it down. Now, if it's raining or other inclement weather, yeah, you may take it down to protect it and preserve it. So every firehouse is different. So if you do have to take up and down the flags, make sure you put up the flags first thing in the morning. And if you haven't done this before and don't understand, there's actually a US flag protocol. So I encourage you to go visit it because it tells you the best practices and the do's and the don'ts. Respect the flag. It's amazing how sometimes I see so much disrespect going on. I don't think it's on purpose. I just think a lot of people aren't aware of there's a flag protocol. Google it. You know, how to properly fold it, how to properly store it, dispose of it, present it, all those other things. Especially when it's not just maybe the US flag, but in our department, we have the US flag, we have the California flag below it, and then we have the department flag. And then there's certain situations where maybe there's a declared half flags to half staff day because of maybe someone that died, someone prominent. Well, there's different protocols then because all 3 flags don't just go to half staff. There's different modalities and different reasoning for that. So another key thing is when you put the flag up, actually look to see it's correct. Meaning every now and then we still see someone flip the flag, which means it's in distress. That's a universal distress signal. Usually people don't catch it. And it's really embarrassing when a flag is upside down, or even worse, the state flag is above the US flag. And then when I say it's even worse is when you get someone like a veteran who served our country that we obviously need to thank for their service, comes knocking at the door, pissed off, as I could imagine they would be, and they should be, as should anyone else. Hey, is there anything going on right now? What do you mean? Your flag is upside down, huh? You know, situational awareness is key. So we all need to check those things, especially when we're driving in and out of the station, going about our day and everything else. But flags are very critical for the respect, not to mention tradition. So other things upon rising, ensure the apparatus are all wiped down. We talked about that before you go to bed, but again, maybe there's a call or two after midnight. So make sure the rigs are wiped down, the windows are clean, the tires are shiny, the rims and aluminums are shiny, and that any tools or equipment used the previous day are clean, functioning and presentable and ready to use condition. Because the last thing you want to do is present your incoming crew with a bag of dog poop. We've all done it. Nothing worse than getting on shift at 8 o'clock and the previous crew their pass on is just as simple as, ran 2 calls, slept the night, later, I'm on a 4-day. And then of course at 8 o'clock you start, and then you're just getting ready to put your gear in the rig and check your gear out, 8:03, boom, cardiac arrest, CPR call. You guys get out there, we've all been it. We've all done this, and we've all been there. Here we are, we haven't had a chance to check our EMS gear. We assume our brothers and sisters left it in tip-top condition. Here we are, full arrest, we start CPR, pull out the oxygen tank, it's down to nothing, it's empty. And we usually carry a spare tank, but it's back at the rig. Nothing more embarrassing or negligent than having to say, oh, sorry, ma'am, we're gonna have to hold off on breathing for a little bit here for your husband, wife, loved one. because we got to run out there because B shift forgot to update or refill the O2 tank. Yeah, they're guilty of it, but so are you for not checking your stuff out. So I know it sucks, but again, help your brothers and sisters out. That's why if you've been up all day, and then even if you get a fire at 2 o'clock, get back to the firehouse at 4 o'clock, I know it's tempting to want to just go to bed and go to sleep and call it a night, but you know what? Never say never. Odds are, if you don't clean those tools, you're going to get a call. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap. Yeah, the chainsaw that you didn't want to clean, I'll clean it in the morning. I'll get up early, or I'm working tomorrow on a trade or overtime, so I'll just do it then. And then of course, 6 a.m., you get another structure fire. And then of course, what are you going to need? The chainsaw. And then it's like, oh crap, it's not working. Yep. Nobody's fault but you. Don't let laziness or complacency set in. It's so easy to do. Some other things upon rising. Police their station, your firehouse, to ensure that anything you or your crew might have taken out has been put back. For example, tools that were taken out, put on the workbench, maybe books or manuals in the office that are left on the counter, cleaning supplies, whatever else. Do a nice little circle, just like we call when you, in our department, before you drive off in the rig, you're supposed to do a golden circle around the rig to make sure that there's no coffee cups left on the bumpers. Yeah, we've all done that at some point if you've been in the fire service long enough. Compartment doors open, other things. Do the same for your firehouse, a nice golden circle to make sure you look up, look down, look around. Again, don't leave your crap for somebody else. Number 7, get ready to make contact with your relief, because we each have a relief member. If there's 3 people on duty today and then the 3 relieving us tomorrow, meaning there's 1 captain, 1 engineer, 1 firefighter on duty today, that's what tomorrow's crew is. So when we, A shift, get off duty tomorrow and B shift comes on, I can't leave. Let's say I'm the firefighter. I cannot leave until my counterpart gets there. If he or she's running late, I got to hold over. Sorry, you ain't going anywhere, Steve. Well, I got plans. Yeah, but if your relief calls in sick or they're running late, you don't leave your rig short. So you got to prepare for those things. So pass on, as I mentioned earlier, should not be, hey, yeah, in closing out the door, hey, we slept all night, didn't spin a wheel, I'll see you in 4 days. I mean, you don't have to be so detailed oriented you put the person to sleep, but you got to pass on relevant information about the rig, what type of calls. When I'm coming on duty, when I was working at a firehouse, I need to know what types of calls they ran. If they don't tell me, I'm going to check the logbook, because that logbook is going to tell me the calls they ran. Now, I'm still going to do a thorough checkout of the rig, as we all should do, but it's amazing how sometimes something happened in the middle of the night and someone was too lazy or complacent to want to fix it or repair it or put it back to normal shape. And then of course, they forgot about it because they were tired. And then of course, just guess what? You need it. And then there's no one to blame. You can't point the fingers. So you want to find out key things. Hey, you know what? If it means you stay up all night to clean things, you do it. But you know what? You're getting paid for whatever time you're on the clock there. Don't screw your brothers and sisters that are coming on duty. Take care of them. Most importantly, before you leave to go off duty, again, just like at nighttime before you went to sleep, make sure you touch base with your officer and ask them, hey, Cap, Lieutenant, is there anything else I need to do before I go off duty? You know, I've cleaned up the station. The rig's looking pretty good, dialed in right now. I've cleaned up my areas that we worked in and whatever else. You know, besides making sure you've done everything expected of you, it also shows an initiative and that you care. Most of the time, they're going to say, hey, no, have a great day off. We'll see you, whatever, in 2 days, or see you in 4 days, or whatever it is. But take that initiative. Don't wait for them to tell you to do it. Because if you think about it, your probationary period is meant to be you at your best. Seriously, you should be at your best. You should be at your best during your probationary period, because once you get off probation, you pretty much have permanent employment, unless you do something illegal, unethical, stupid, or whatever else. But nothing is guaranteed in life except death and taxes. But as long as you don't do anything stupid, you got a pretty good chance at keeping the career. Well, you never get a second chance for a first impression, and it's critical that you do as much as you can to get along well with others and be a valuable team member. So, as always, thank you very much for the gift of your time. I hope you're finding this information valuable in some capacity. You may not understand and be able to put things into context right now, especially if you're planning to become a firefighter, only because you haven't done the job yet. But hopefully over time, this stuff will make sense. So if nothing else, until the next episode, y'all take care, be safe, and we'll see